Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be giving an update on NIO. So before we move forward, just make sure you drop a like to this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications on to help this channel grow. You're going to find my full long-term DD on this one in the description below, as well as my previous DD, which compared basic products for this company compared to its competitors. So there's a lot of other videos you can watch on NIO in the description below after this one. So without further adu, we're going to go through technical analysis, and then we're going to go through news, and then recent updates on this company and how I would trade it. So without going further, here you can look into technical analysis. You get to see in terms of the MACD is actually curving up. So it hit its most negative point around the 27th and start curving up. So that's a good news. 10 SMA is above the 30 AMA, and the stock price has dipped into the trading action zone a few times and seen a reversal. So when the price is between the 10 SMA and the 30 AMA, that's a trading action zone. And you get to see that it's currently sitting at the bottom into the trading action zone and has a high chance of a positive reversal. The stock price is above the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA, so that's good news. Average directional index does not show us much since it's on a decline. It hasn't picked up yet, so we need to look into the 1 hour perspective in terms of that. William percent R puts the stock not over, but it's really closer to neutral. Momentum here seems to be on the negative side ever since 23rd. It's been on a stable level for the last 3 days. Moving on towards the 1 hour perspective here, you get to see the MACD is actually curving up, and what you might have is a bit of a positive jump on Monday. The rate of the jump is a little bit hard to determine. It could be something where it's just trading sideways, but it's going to be testing that positive MACD sometime in the pre-market on Monday. Now the average directional index here puts this stock price change around sloppy. It seems to be oversold at this level, and then a little bit henching closer towards neutral. Momentum seems to be under zero, and it looks like actually the stock price on the 1 hour perspective on the last day has gone below the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA both together. The 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, and the price is under VWAP, all which are bearish. Now moving on towards the moving averages here, you get to see the stock price is trading on the lower moving average band here, happening in blue and cyan and purple in the middle, and it's trading on the lower part of the band. So what I expect is this band to stabilize and this price to start oscillating within the band, and something back all the way here, you get to see that the band does kind of swing up and down the stock. So we might have something very similar to this where it's jumping up. Moving on towards trend lines and whatnot. So we're going to go through trend lines quickly. But before we do so, here's the Fibonacci retracements. Let me just fix it quickly to 772 just to make sure it's completely accurate. There we go. All right. So current support sits at, in terms of traditionally, at 1141. Fibonacci support is sitting at 1106. Of course, there is as well a little bit of around 1127 seems to be a previous kind of support. And then following that, traditional support would be 1077 and then 978. So there's a massive drop between here and there. Now, in terms of resistance, we're looking at Fibonacci resistance of 1209. Following that, we're getting 1249. And then following that is around 1297 with the Fibonacci resistance at 1312. Following that is 1354, 1372, 1428, and then around 14.6 in terms of Fibonacci resistance, and then 1499. Now let's try to identify any trends that we might actually see. So in terms of patterns, I don't see any significant patterns at all. So let's quickly go on. In terms of the trend line, we're seeing something. Well, this trend line has been broken just quite a little, so it's a new trend line that we drew. Now moving on to comparing it quickly before we move forward to something like Tesla. So this one has been a sympathy play a little bit for Tesla, and we get to see it is actually still trading very closely to Tesla. And you get to see, for instance, here the spike that is seen. It's seen as well here, spike. The drop, it seems to have followed very much the same thing, sideways. So quite interesting to see that it's still holding very much a look of that of Tesla's here and here. Of course, this one, I believe, was a Goldman Sachs downgrade. So moving on now towards news. And before we move forward as well, let me just do something quickly and try to see if my broker has the earnings. The earnings are on 22nd of September for quarter 2, so there's quite a bit for that, so we're not going to mention it for now. Recent transactions from insiders, we get to see here a bit of mixed things. You get to see there's a lot of transactions from where I think we made the video was around the 27th or 28th. There's a lot that has happened. It's going sideways, right? People are buying, people are selling. There's a lot of institutional interest on this, but it seems that there's a lot more buy-ins happening than there's selling. So the greens here are buy-in, new positions. The gray here are change in positions, but I see they're mostly positive, like 1905. This one is negative 28, 88% increase. So basically, institutions are really liking this one here, and it seems one of these stocks that are really trading it for this month, and it actually really picked up. It wasn't like that before. So you look in terms of June, you might have something like 15, 20 transactions. In July, I can see easily 50 transactions. So quite interesting here. I think 50 is an underestimate. I think it's 100. Now moving on. Nope, this is just a different company with their IPO at $16 place. So that could have been interesting for you to compare other IPOs. Sorry, $11.50. That could be similar price. So in this one here is I was just comparing quickly between two recent. So National here Assets Management, where they increased their shares. They have $1.5 billion. Signature they have around 1.7, and they have increased their decreased just their shares just a little. SDG here that they've bought 450,000 shares. They're sitting in at 107 million in terms of their portfolio, and Wealth Care Advisory Partners are sitting in around 802 million. So that's just comparing basically who's buying the stock. Recent news, I couldn't find anything in terms of the SEC filing from my last DD, so I wouldn't move on to that. You can find it in the description below. Interesting news here is the development in China, right? This is a Chinese company, an EV Chinese company, and it seems that there's a massive amount of interest in the Chinese market for electric vehicles. So this is going to be quickly my segment here. You get to see here one of their competitors, XPeng. They raised another $300 million. So there's a lot of funding and a lot of interest for EV companies here. You can see here that last November, XPeng raised $400 million from investors, including Xiaomi Corp. Sources told Reuters. At the time of the investors, valued the company at nearly $4 billion. There's a lot of interest there. Now, a lot of people don't. Well, some people don't know this, but China has been a massive market for Tesla. Tesla, in fact, when I imagine Tesla, I see a bigger market in China, for instance, than that is off the US in sense. And that's why there's a lot of expansion for Teslas in China. And this is one of the latest things that someone sent me, I think yesterday at 8 p.m. Elon Musk says China rocks while US is full complacency and entitlement. So there is as well a push, if you think about it, in the US for oil. And oil vehicles and basically Texas oil and all that stuff. So that might be a little bit of a roughness there. So China, especially since it's not an oil manufacturer, it might make sense for it to use perhaps nuclear energy or renewable energy. In fact, China continues to create nuclear energy, so that might be interesting there as well for their market. This is the same news, and hold on. Tesla's China's exposure outright scary. This is from Forbes. This one, I believe, was 3 days ago. And basically, from my understanding and what I've seen recent news is there's a massive market. Now, what do I expect for this stock to trade? Let's quickly go on to over here. Gonna quickly do the 1 hour interval. So we're able to, or actually, let me just keep it in terms of 30 minutes here. So how would I play this one? I want it to stabilize, right? And you get to see it has been trading quite a little bit sideways for quite a little. This one here is not actually looking that good. So let me just make sure it's 1 month, 1 day. So how am I going to trade it? I want it to stabilize a little, right? I want it to perhaps touch a little bit lower in the trading action zone or trading action zone to pull up. I want to see the MACD curve back again. So I want a more positive MACD. And once I get on there, I think the stock would it's finding a really good support somewhere very closer to around the higher $10 mark. I do believe in the stock for a longer term, so that's very interesting. But I'll definitely jump on this for a longer term stock rather than just trading it, and that's the mentality you need to approach the stock. Now there will be a lot of good PRs coming in, especially for an EV industry that is booming in China and that has a lot of potential. So that's how I would play it. It's definitely a strong hold for me. It's not a buy unless it reaches a little bit on the $10 figures, which it has multiple times. But that's my opinion on it. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention it down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.